And we are live. Good morning, crypto warriors, and welcome back to Gym in Crypto, episode 736. Today is Monday, June 7th, 2021, and I'm King, here to bridge the gap between community and crypto every day, Monday through Friday at 10ish. Today is one of those 10ish days, so thank you for bearing with me. Top stories of the day. President of El Salvador says he's submitting bill to make Bitcoin legal tender. Bitcoin users will get help relocating and working in El Salvador, says the president. CoinShares lists physically backed crypto ETPs on German exchange. Remember JP Morgan coin. Next step is programmable money, bank executive says. A coming crypto long and short. Bitcoin's Taproot update shows how it's not like gold. And of course, those prices we're going to jump into first and foremost on the day. Go ahead. Let me open up this chat box. Today's price is coming in nice and hot. We have a nice little mixture of green and red. You can see here Bitcoin's at $36,100, up 1.57%. Ethereum is at $2,782, up 4.61%. Binance at $399, up 4%. Cardano at $1.73, up 3.96%. You got Dogecoin in there at 36 cents, not really a big change there. Ripple at 95 cents, up 3.6%. Polkadot up 5% at about 24.91, and Uniswap rounding off the top 10, up 5.81% at $27.02. So all in all, it looks like a combination of 3 to 5% growth all across the market. And yes, we saw the market kind of dip back down on Friday night again. So more of the same chop we've been seeing the last few months. Nothing new to see here. All good on this side. As you log in, make sure you're smashing that like and share. Let's get this algorithm popping. As we jump in the news for the day, what's going on? Fonzo, DC, Nigel, Jiu-Jitsu, Alan, Geechee, Geechee Sultan, like that. Let's see who else coming on. Ron, Alan, Wendy, Williams, what's up, NTZ, Devo, Kadeem, Wendy, Dana Dane, Junior Miley, good morning, all. Let's see, goodness, what's going on? Goodness, good morning from Ghana. There we go. Got some people from Ghana in here this morning. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Again, top story of the day is President of El Salvador is in the news, of course. El Salvador is all the talk of the town as Bitcoin becomes legal tender there. Let's go ahead and check this out. Again, we're talking about El Salvador here. Emotional Jack Mallers announced the news at the Bitcoin 2021 conference in Miami. If you didn't hear by now already, you can see here's the picture of him. Look at that cool guy there with a little hoodie on at the conference. El Salvador is developing a bill to recognize Bitcoin as legal tender, according to President Nayib Bukele. In a videotape announcement shown Saturday, he said he will submit the bill next week. Zap's Jack Mallers announced the news at Bitcoin 2021 conference in Miami. He said his company is working with Bukele to implement a plan. I'm probably pronouncing that last name wrong, so feel free to spill it out. See if I can read in the comment section. But yeah, if you didn't hear, this is what Jack Mallers was actually banned for Twitter for. He got banned on Twitter. That's like all the rage now, to get banned off social media sites. You know you made it when you go into Facebook jail, from what I've heard. You get banned off Twitter or one of these platforms. But slippery slope, as we always say here, when you start getting banned. Jack Mallers was banned off of Twitter from what rumors are saying, because he broke this news out. Again, the bill must still be reviewed by the country's legislative assembly, but with the populist Bukele's upstart political party and firm control of that body, approval seemed all but assured Saturday afternoon. The bill's approval will likely make El Salvador the first nation to adopt a Bitcoin standard. Its full text was not immediately available. People, this is going to be crazy if a country actually used Bitcoin not only as legal tender, but as their Federal Reserve to back their actual currency. Something we talked about happening for forever. Capitulation is happening. As we mentioned on this show, Bitcoin, as they mentioned, Bitcoin doesn't need banks. Banks need Bitcoin. This is an example of seeing that as well. Countries, Bitcoin don't need countries. Bitcoin doesn't need customers. Bitcoin doesn't need maximalists. Like, all these people and all these things need Bitcoin, even at a country level. So I think this is a good thing because after it actually happens here in El Salvador, other countries will be looking at it almost as a test ground. It's going to set precedent. Other countries will be using Bitcoin as legal tender. Other countries will be using Bitcoin to back its actual monetary supply. They will be using it on their balance sheets. This is something that is going to happen. So I think El Salvador is just going to be the first of many countries to do it. I think everyone will have their eyes on El Salvador here in the next few months to see how it will affect the nation's currency that they currently have. Will it displace businesses? Will it displace banks? How quickly it's going to happen? I think this is literally going to be the testing ground on it. So again, you can see here as of now, El Salvador is set to become the first Bitcoin country, Mahler said, and the first country to make Bitcoin legal tender and treat it as a world currency, have Bitcoin in the reserves. Now, coming for Jack Mahler, this was definitely worth being banned off Twitter to say to the entire planet, our business is the first business out there helping countries accept Bitcoin. That was definitely worth getting kicked off Twitter. That's what he and his business has done. The talk of the town today. And again, this is 39-year-old Bukele, president of El Salvador, claiming in recorded remarks that the plan will have short-term benefits of thousands of unbanked individuals. It will also generate jobs. And again, this is El Salvador accepting Bitcoin. That's what we're talking about this morning. If you're just now joining the show, what's going on? See, Alec G said, curious how this will affect the region. Honduras, Guatemala, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, they're all right there. Exactly. I mean, not just the region when it comes to normal trade either. I mean, a lot of that stuff gets imported, or we import a lot of stuff from South America. So right, to see how actual supply change and supply lines might actually change, to see how businesses do their businesses different when you're talking about supply. I don't know, maybe they start saying, hey, we'll send up supplies, we'll send things up in a way, we'll export things, but instead of being paid in cash now, we'll be getting paid in Bitcoin. Maybe it will speed up business. There's so much to actually research and learn about what's going to happen here in El Salvador. So this is going to be crazy. S1 Dub said El Salvador and Paraguay are good starts because if they can show solid treasury gains as small developing nations, other small nations will follow suit quickly. And that's the thing that's going to be crazy, people. Mr. Will said Jack Mahler's got his bank account. There you go. Right. That's a smart man, right? He's not caring about being on the social media side or not. That is going to be the thing where literally that Bitcoin starting World War III might speed up quicker than what we think, because yes, if smaller developing nations start to use crypto or Bitcoin specifically, and it actually helps that country, oh, United States is not going to like that one. That wasn't a funny joke at the club. Everyone from the North American side of the crowd didn't laugh. I'm telling you now, that will not be what's up for the United States if these smaller countries start to use Bitcoin and start to see it as like freedom and it actually works for them. Like, that's going to be a big problem in the matrix. And I think that problem will be course corrected in the short term rather than the long term. I don't think the U.S. is going to wait on this one. If they start seeing countries adopt Bitcoin en masse, like, we're going to have something to say about it. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. Again, we've been talking about El Salvador. I want to bring up one more article on this one. Bitcoin users will get help relocating and working in El Salvador to make this even smoother and cleaner, I guess, of a transition process. First and foremost, shout out to the expats, the Americans that go down to South America in places like El Salvador. I actually know a few of those folks who have relocated to South America and heard good things about it. So yeah, Nayib Bukele says he wants to help entrepreneurs embrace El Salvador as a base with Bitcoin free from capital gains tax. That is certainly one way to attract people here in North America, at least, who may be running from our draconian government here in the next few years as the price of Bitcoin climbs, and they might not agree with that corporate tax. El Salvador might be the place to go, the sanctuary city, the sanctuary country to go to, excuse me. But again, in a tweet on Monday, President Nayib Bukele said that his government will help settle foreign workers. The announcement is one of many that continue to come informally from Bukele, now famous for attempting to put El Salvador on a form of a Bitcoin standard. Of course, he announced that last week at Miami's Bitcoin 2021 conference. Here you can see him on stage. And that's what I'm talking about. Listen, the guy's a 39-year-old president of a country, right? It wasn't all this, oh, we got to wait. We got to do all this testing. We got to see if this works. We got to see if that work. He like, no, I know how to read. I read the white paper. I understand what technology is. I got all these smart people at my fingertips in the government, had them review the code. Turns out the code is good. Everything works. I guess we're going to use this as a country. He pulled the trigger. So shout out again. First and foremost, I want to give a hand clap to El Salvador's president, President Nayib Bukele, pardon me, Presidente, if I am pronouncing that wrong, but a hand clap to have the bravery to do that. First of all, right? People always want to talk about he or she or so-and-so's brave and have courage for doing, I don't know, things such as changing who they want to be, right? That's bravery. But no, this is real bravery to set your entire country on a new financial and economical landscape when literally announcing that could put you at war with other countries or other organizations being that of banks. That could literally push you in the crosshairs. And they came out and did it all the way first. It's not Venezuela saying we have the petrodollar. It's not China saying we have the yuan, the digital yuan. This is El Salvador saying, hey, we're not playing the games. Let me go ahead and we're not playing the games. We are being backed by Bitcoin. We're going to offer Bitcoin. Bitcoin is going to be legal tender. We're going to allow you to work here. We're going to give you sanctuary. That is what the El Salvador president is saying at 39 years old. He's not waiting. He is pulling the trigger. Or as his tweet says, that's right. President's tweet, people. As his tweet says, welcome to the future Bitcoin. Let's see if I can play this for a moment. Oh, I probably need to, I got to share the sound. I forgot it. No, I need to share the sound. You all have taught me well when it comes to this Zoom, when I'm Zooming from home. But I'm not going to show you the whole thing.
And we were onboarding 20,000 Salvadorans a day, and most of them didn't have bank accounts. And boy, the remittance was free. Remittance was instant. Lightning Network works, man. The Lightning Network works. And in real time, we're improving the GDP of the country. And so then I got a message on behalf of the president of the country. And he wanted to talk. And I called my dad. It's going to piss my pants. But we talked. This guy's name is Yusuf. And we talked about life.
I'll chop that.
Talked about anime. Talked about...
All right, so you can watch the whole thing there on CoinShares. I'm not going to play it 6 minutes. But the fact is that is what I'm talking about. Like, for presidents to start to reach out to crypto people. And this is something else we talked about here years on this channel, and it's also happening. People, crypto warriors, if you've been watching us, if you just started watching us, you don't know how great of a position you're in. For those who don't know, we've already had crypto warriors placed at a variety of different crypto companies out there. We already know Antonio, he's holding down at Crypto Maniacs. Tyler White's over there at BRD Wallet with the marketing team, or he was there, not sure if he's still there. We've had warriors join different crypto companies, and it's always good to see. But one thing we've always said is wait until this becomes like a government thing, a national thing, where they have to have people who are knowledgeable in cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and blockchain and fintech and all this other stuff. Wait until they have to find people like it. Like, for one, the price that you're going to get paid for having any knowledge in the sector is ridiculous. It's going to be 3 times the average asking price for every industry out there. So already you're talking about getting paid 2 to 3 times higher in this market. And now that governments are saying that, hey, or at least El Salvador is saying, hey, we're accepting it as legal tender. Like, there are going to be so many jobs, like essentially every job that has to do with government that we know of that can be put, that can be tokenized, put on the blockchain, or anything that will merge this technology. If you're in one of those jobs in the government and you don't know about cryptocurrency or blockchain technology and how it can affect you and how you can use it to adapt, then you will get left behind. So again, for people who watch this show every day, people who pay attention to the market, I think this is great news for you because you're ahead of the curve. You see it happening. And when you walk in your job on Tuesday or Wednesday one day and they start talking cryptocurrency to your blockchain and the new software or protocols they're going to run, you know what's going on. It won't catch you off guard. So this is good to see. And again, last but not least is El Salvador, and this is their president tweeting as well. Great weather, world-class surfing beaches, beachfront properties. One of the few countries in the world with no property tax, no capital gains tax for Bitcoins. This will be legal tender and immediate permanent residence for crypto entrepreneurs. So again, this sounds amazing. I love Latin America. And it may be time to actually start looking for an apartment or a home down there in El Salvador, right? But let's also not forget some very interesting neighbors down there. A lot going on, though. So everything isn't all roses, but at least in that country, for people with crypto, it will be pretty cool. So can't wait to see what happens there as that unfolds more. Again, that's just being announced. Let's see. S1 Dub said, with this earth-shattering, shaking news, you would think the price of Bitcoin moves significantly, but manipulation continues. That and the knowledge, again, people like that goes back to a few weeks ago on a Friday where it's just like, have you read the white paper? The answer was no. People don't even know about the technology, people. That's why we're still super early. People don't know about the technology. That's why people aren't getting excited or even hearing the headline. I assure you, the majority of people in crypto, at least here in the States, have not seen or heard the headline about El Salvador. They don't care that much into it. It's more surface level when it comes to the prices. So yes, that is why it's not being reflected right now. But this is also why we keep saying this market's irrational, and just because people are making money in this market or picking certain projects or altcoins or doing whatever, it doesn't mean you're actually picking winners. Like, just because you're making money doesn't mean you're picking winners. Like, again, we have this screenshot saved from 2017 when people were like, you two or you all or King, you're just mad that you're not making none of this BitConnect money. Like, literally, people are coming at us. You're mad because you're not making Ponzi scheme money and you got it on this late. Meanwhile, we're over here like, we thought the entire world knew this was a Ponzi scheme. We didn't realize people were even actually investing in it until our warriors were like, yeah, we invested in it. And we're like, no, hey, it's a Ponzi scheme. You don't understand this? So my point is that we've seen it before. But yes, that has happened. Let's go. Fun with a face. Even if El Salvador doesn't succeed this time, it'll be tried again regardless. It forces a discussion on the topic globally. He's planting a seed of Bitcoin. Yes, inevitability for sure. Fun with the face that President of El Salvador has laser eyes. What's going on, East Side? Tony, Jay, everything, $200. There we go. Nice. Yeah, shilling back there. William Clark, this is a big moment, so emotional. He went in. It's a must-watch video. All right, here we go. Make sure you watch that video. And yes, people, was crazy too. We're talking about financial markets in smaller countries. And yes, I mean, you got to give it to him. Just when we saw that video, Jack Mahler was seriously emotional. Like, what other industry, what other projects are getting humans that emotional, right? Like, what other projects are getting humans that emotional? I would say the vaccine will be one of them, and politics, vaccine, politics, and some social media justice. This is a couple of those projects. So it's a total of a handful of projects, but this is a financial one. Not only is it a financial one, it's a technological one. You're talking about software bits, zeros and ones, and to see somebody get on stage and get that emotional about what it's doing for other people in other places, I mean, that is incredible to see. So yes. And yes, Mr. G, the recycling guy, I want to remind everybody, 1 Bitcoin does equal 1 Bitcoin. If you're looking at the prices, you're looking at the wrong thing. All right. CoinShares in the news. CoinShares lists physically backed crypto ETPs on German exchange. Deutsche Börse Extra is listing CoinShares physical Bitcoin, Ether, and Litecoin ETPs. The headlines and the story itself, but the stories in the headline itself, European digital asset manager CoinShares is expanding the reach of its physically backed exchange traded product portfolio with a new listing in Germany. According to announcement Monday, physical Bitcoin, Ether, and Litecoin ETPs have cross-listed on major German exchange Deutsche Börse Extra. The digital asset manager started the year by launching a Bitcoin ETP named CoinShares Physical Bitcoin in January, listed on Switzerland's SIX Swiss exchange. Each ETP is physically backed by 0.001 Bitcoin. Again, people, this is good for the market, I guess, for mainstream adoption, to let their bankers have their toy. Like, you got to let the bankers have their toys. We want them to stay away from like obscene amount of regulation. Even though this really is going to stop it, it might actually add fuel to the fire. We let them get paid off this, but regardless, like, bankers, like, let them have their toys. They're going to keep trying. This is one of their toys. Derivatives, ETFs, ETPs, like, these are their toys. Because the worst thing they want people to do is to buy the underlying asset. Then there's no reason for bankers, especially in this case here. So with that being said, again, you can see here this ETP is physically backed by 0.001 Bitcoin. A person has to literally lose their mind to buy the ETP and not just buy the 0.001 Bitcoin, to me, in my opinion. It just, I'm not seeing it. I understand diversification and everything, but this is one of those things where, I mean, I guess the ETP will probably save you from extreme dips, but also it's not going to allow you to have the flip side, the extreme highs when you're in position to get those. So I'm not a fan of all these derivatives because they're literally derivatives of an underlying product. It's literally me saying, hey guys, instead of you liking and subscribing and tuning into the Gym into Crypto Live, how about you tune into someone else's channel who's like screen mirroring our channel as we talk live, right? It's like, why not just go to their channel and interact on their actual channel? Why would you go to a third-party channel to watch us live if you can just come see us on our channel live? It just doesn't make sense to me. It is a derivative. It's made up funny money, and that's how you have these numbers now, these articles, where the article came out the other day, the world is 200 and something trillion dollars in debt. And like, the joke is like, in debt to who? Aliens? Like, who are we in debt to? The same thing in the US. Like, every year you get these inflated numbers, $1 trillion in debt, multi-billions in debt. Like, you get these inflated numbers because you keep trying to package up money that isn't even here, saying, well, in 30 years, we're going to package this up and this is going to be worth that and that, this and that. And it's like, no, the underlying asset, 0.001 Bitcoin equals 0.001 Bitcoin. I don't know how many ETPs is going to equal or what language or math that equates to, but when it comes to the underlying asset, I know when I'm working with, everything else to me is funny money. You better be careful because, and to be fair, I would say you better be careful because the funny money is for the government, but this is what they want. Again, they want a stable coin, like a USD coin type of deal. They want this market to merge with the traditional banking market. Now they do. Hilarious. And once it merges, they want it to be so that, yes, they're ETFs, they're ETPs. Of course, they're waiting to launch it, which is even crazier. People keep nosing. People have been trying to do ETPs and ETFs since like for forever. 2016, 2017, people were trying. And the government weren't allowing these financial instruments. They're still not allowing it. They're going to allow these things for the general public once the price of Bitcoin is so ridiculous that people have no choice but to pay attention to. When Bitcoin crosses that $100,000 mark, 150K and all that other stuff, and people are really screaming. I mean, we already see it, the Ripple shields on our channel always saying, you're telling people to buy Bitcoin. Why would you not just tell them to buy Ripple? And it's like, fundamentally, because we're talking about different things and fundamentally. But they're going to wait until the price of Bitcoin is so high, everyone's paying attention to it. And then they're going to have the narrative come out from the banks saying, hey, you think you can't afford to hold Bitcoin? No worries. With this ETF, with this ETP, it'll be just like owning a Bitcoin. That's the part they're going to say fast in the commercial. ETPs and ETFs aren't the same as owning actual Bitcoin. Boom. It's going to be just like that. It's not the same as owning actual Bitcoin. It's going to say that at the end of the commercial very quickly. But with the price being high, it's going to sell itself. And this is going to be the thing. So it's going to happen. And I'm glad it's going to happen. It's going to bring more eyes and people over to the market. But just know that it's not Bitcoin. It's going to be those derivatives and the overlying assets. My ninja said, look at gold derivatives, killed the whole market. There it is. What's going on, Law Thong? Welcome to the show. All right. Remember JPM coin, that JP Morgan coin. Next step is programmable money, bank executive says. I thought it'd be a slower news day, so I decided to cover this. But essentially, JP Morgan is still trying to force their way, bogart their way into the narrative. The global bank is also, quote, keeping a very close eye on DeFi, says Umar Farouk, ahead of JP Morgan's Onyx blockchain team. Like, they always, JP Morgan got so much BS coming from it. Like, literally, people. This is a I was about to say multi-billion, but at the end of the day, I mean, JP Morgan got cocaine shipments into billions, right? Like, they're worth a lot of money. They're worth a lot of money. They have a lot of resources and they have a lot of analysts. You don't have this many people working for you with this amount of knowledge, and you're still keeping a very close eye on DeFi. Like, no, again, shout out to El Salvador. He didn't come out saying, hey, I'm keeping a close eye on Bitcoin. He was like, hey, we looked at it. Bitcoin about to be legal tender when me and the homies in our version of Congress signed this paper I'm about to push through this Monday morning. Like, that's what's happening there. They're not keeping a close eye on it. They're not doing this trial. They're not going to wait another 2 years to see what happens. They're pulling the trigger on this thing. So this is 2 years after JP Morgan grabbed headlines with plans for an in-house digital token. The global mega bank is looking to fulfill one of the great promises of electric currency, programmable money. Now, a lot of this stuff is already out. JP Morgan isn't doing anything new. They're literally just using other people's open source technology and essentially, I won't say stealing because of the way it could sound legally, but they're rehashing code for their own thing. It is literally what we always talk about. Instead of having the internet, this company is bringing people into the JP Morgan phone and say, we know it's the World Wide Web out there. We know it's the internet, but why don't you use our JP Morgan web, our intranet? Like, when you like to search the JP Morgan intranet and see what lies beneath the surface here in our own web data server? It's like, no, I'd rather actually do the general public one for the World Wide Web and see even more information than what you have. But again, this is what they're doing with cryptocurrency. They want you to have an intranet. They don't want you to use Bitcoin. They want you to use JP Morgan coin. And it's funny too, the way this is even written. Let me see if I can find this part. The way this is even written, it is literally JP Morgan trying to insert themselves in a narrative without pissing people off as they do it. Man, I can't see it right now. I'm looking for the line. But essentially this line in this article is coming from JP Morgan, and they're like, hey, we just want to remind you all that the JP Morgan coin was only for internal use or whatever. And this is like, no, they're saying that to remind you it's still out there, that they're still working on it, and it's actually being used by their company, or so they say. They're saying that to keep it in the narrative, to keep your eye or the attention on the fact that they have one. So when they launch it publicly, it's not the first time you've ever heard of it. So I can't even see the actual comment. Let's see. It might be this. This is them talking about programming money. Again, I really want to read too much of this, just make it sound like a JP Morgan advertisement. But this is JP Morgan come back in to steal the narrative as they have done so far thus forward. Again, formally launched in October, JP Morgan coin, here it is for now more akin to JP Morgan's corporate clients holding the US dollar deposit accounts on a blockchain, said Umar Farouk, head of the bank's Onyx suite of applications. So again, they have this actually working, so they say. But only people that can see the code and know it's working is the only people who work at JP Morgan, which is why it will eventually fail in long term. But that's JP Morgan coin. They're talking about programmable money. They want to insert their name into the DeFi conversation. They even talked about DeFi or whatever. But just watch out, people. Just watch out. This is the same JP Morgan that crashed the market in 2017, saying Bitcoin was fraudulent and that it was essentially going to die. They crashed the market down to $3,000 at the time. It was a big deal in 2017. And then every year, every week since then, they cannot stop talking about Bitcoin since then. I mean, this is literally the example of a real pretty girl walking by, a guy saying hello to pretty girl. She not really responding the way he wants. And then he gets mad and calls her a name and starts acting out. Like, that is what JP Morgan has done to Bitcoin for the last few years. I swear, people, I guess Jamie Dimon, between him and his company, somebody tried to highlight Bitcoin. I guess the pump fake happened. They lost their private keys. Bitcoin touched them wrong and said something smart to them. And ever since then, they can't keep Bitcoin's name out his mouth. It is crazy. All right. Last but certainly not least, crypto long and short Bitcoin's Taproot update and shows how it's not let go. Again, signaling for Taproot has started. Again, Taproot is a Bitcoin upgrade for those who don't know, or excuse me, an assortment of upgrades perhaps. But when Bitcoin undergoes a technological shift, it's a test of narratives that underpin the asset's value. What do I always say on this show? I've literally, like, that's something I've been saying on this show since I started. And shout out to the good old US Navy. That's where I learned all about narratives from. I mean, I did PR for them, but I have, like, this has been beat into my head. I'm telling you, people, like, as a PR professional, it has been beat into my head, the narrative, owning the narrative. Like, I've been trained through the military about this. So when I'm starting to see it pop up in articles 4 to 5 years later after I mentioned this would be like the thing to really shape markets, I know I'm not going crazy. I'm glad it says that here, because this is what's important, that test of narratives, which is why it's so important to be tuned into what the community wants and was doing, instead of some of these corporate giants that are starting to come over here with the advertising budgets, the marketing budgets, and now starting to do all that type of stuff. So again, Bitcoin's strongest narrative is digital gold. Investors buy it now out of an expectation that it will behave like gold behaves in the market today, but that will someday take on the historic importance that gold has held across cultures and ages. Again, we're talking about Taproot here. This quality is now on display with Bitcoin Network's progress toward an update called Taproot. Taproot is a bundle of is a bundle of several improvement proposals. Notably among them, it will add data efficiencies that could ease supply side pressure in Bitcoin's transaction fee market. It also includes updates to multi-signature transactions, a Bitcoin feature that's significant for custodians and other organizations that take direct custody of Bitcoin. In this column, I'll focus on the latter. So again, you can check this out on CoinDesk. But to simplify that, Taproot is going to be a Bitcoin improvement proposal, or a set of proposals coming down that's supposed to actually go live in November, right? That's going to make the platform more efficient. That's what it's trying to do when it says easing supply side pressure. When you actually are doing transactions, so you won't be seeing those high fees. This will make it even more efficient as well. And then also, as you can see here, the multi-sig transactions, that's a big thing. As banks start to say, hey, we will allow you to have Bitcoin. Thank you, banks. As they start allowing us regular humans to have Bitcoin, they give us permission. The regulators give us all these permissions. This multi-sig stuff is what's going to help them be able to say, as a business practice, we can keep your crypto custody using some of these different improvements. So this is going to be big for Bitcoin, big for the industry. And again, people, like, articles are already coming out about this. El Salvador just said we're going to make it legal tender, and the price doesn't reflect it. If that isn't a bigger sign of this being an irrational market, I don't know what is, because people are not talking about Bitcoin today, but they are still talking about Dogecoin. You better believe that. So that's crazy to even hear about or see. But yes, Bitcoin keeps getting better, people. It's constantly under attack. It gets better every day. And as we can see here, it's actually planning to get better by the end of the year, an actual plan to be better. So for those who think Bitcoin is dead or is still too late or any of that crazy good stuff, it is, I mean, hey, the proof is in the pudding. We are just now getting started. So something to think about. All right, last couple of comments before I get out of here. I got around today. BGN, what's going on? Love your analogous commentary, King. You cover a lot of blind spots many don't think of in this space. Yes, people, I'm telling you. Next time I get a nice size fund going, it's gonna be light work. I can't wait, because this market is becoming actually more predictable. Every year I'm in it, becomes more and more predictable, because I'm starting to see these patterns often. I mean, that's gonna be everyone. I'm sure a lot of other people who's been around since 2017. Like we always talk about Elon Musk, like his playbook isn't even new. Like, he's copying old playbooks right now. So yeah, it's nothing too new. Funky Fresh, majority will never see a whole Bitcoin and only transacting Satoshis. It's a rich Bitcoin maxis dominance over lower class Satoshis. I don't know. I get what you're saying, but I mean, literally just from looking from when the pandemic started, if you've been dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin since the pandemic started, like, I would say off the top of my head, many people could probably have dollar cost average into at least a third of a Bitcoin, to be fair, if you have been on it every week, every month, or whatever. So you're right, but I don't think a lot of people won't own a full Bitcoin, or right now a lot of people won't own a full Bitcoin because they can't afford it, as much as it will be because they don't have the discipline to buy it. That's the difference, right? It's one thing to not be able to afford it, oh my God, I can't buy a $33,000 or $34,000 Bitcoin. Like, yeah, most can't, right? But it's another thing to say I'm dollar cost averaging into it until I actually get there. So I don't know. I think it's going to depend on strategy, but I get what you're saying. By and large, yeah, people definitely won't be doing it. Oh, and yes, last but not least, I probably should have covered, but no big deal. Shout out to Mayweather for the fight. I guess he almost got in the first fight at the Bitcoin conference when he said that something can grow bigger than Bitcoin. Funky Fresh just mentioned. I feel like, listen, for everyone who's new to the market who didn't make any money or just enjoy the experience or ride a Bitcoin yet, even though they think it's over, and they keep looking for the next thing. They keep looking for the next project. On Talk Shop Live yesterday, we looked at GitHub. We looked at the amount of Bitcoin contributors. There's 799 of the best developers in the world that has worked on or worked on Bitcoin. 799 of the best developers on the planet. Go to GitHub and check your project and see how many developers are working on it or have worked on it in the past. Not nearly that many. So when you talk about the actual technology, what's the better project? You're talking about a project that has 799 developers from around the planet, like the best, because the Bitcoin developers is like the NBA All-Star team of developers, right? Like you have to be the best. So you're talking about the best developers around the world working on this project for 12, 13 years. But everyone keeps looking for the next thing, saying this is going to be better than it, which is why we always bring it back to a technical argument, because it's like, fine, what are the white papers saying? What does the actual code say? Let's go to GitHub and look these things up. This isn't how you feel. This is a how you feel market. Like maybe when you look at the fiat pricing and the way it trades, it's a how you feel market, and we're seeing their irrational trading behavior. But when it comes to the actual products, an underlying product, doesn't matter how much you invest in it, how much your community screams for it, how much you love it. If the actual technical side of the product and a project doesn't make sense, it's not going to make sense. So with that, make sure you read the GitHub, check out the white papers, check out the websites, do your own research. I'm not really worried about Mayweather. I mean, again, Mayweather, love him, great boxer. Last time he was in the cryptocurrency news, the government was going after him for supporting ICO. So clearly someone who didn't know what he was doing back in 2017. And I'm assuming he probably ignored the cryptocurrency market in 2018 and 2019, like most people did because it was a bear market, may have came back around late 2020, if not early 21, when Michael Saylor and Elon came around. And now everyone's a 6 to 7 month genius again, right? Like, give me a break. If you didn't talk during the bear market, if you didn't come out during the bear market saying that there's going to be another new Bitcoin in 2018 and 2019, not trying to hear it. Not trying to hear it. Don't come in 2021 when the sentiment's high. I want you to come during a bear market and have this same conversation and see the same stuff. It didn't happen. People weren't saying that because in a bear market, everyone really got to see how amazing or how shitty their project was. And it turned out a lot of projects were shitty. Smash that like and share. I'll see you tomorrow with some more crypto news.